Okay, great. Welcome. Well, this is a sicha of the Rebbe to the kids, the children. Every so often the Rebbe would gather children. I remember in the 80s when I was in Israel, I was a teenager. All of a sudden the Rebbe, out of the blue, it wasn't a usual time for the Rebbe to call the kids in. Called all the kids to come into 770. The schools teachers brought the kids in, and the Rebbe spoke a sicha to them. And then a couple of days later, he spoke again. And then a couple of days later, he spoke again. And that was very unusual. And I remember I asked my classmates who were with me, that were there listening, and they said this happened also before the 6-Day War and happened before the Yom Kippur War. They ever did the same thing with the kids, gathered them in and talked to them and had them do psukim and had them give tzedakah and do all the prayers, learning, and tzedakah. And right after that, the Lebanon War broke out. So it's just another incident, anecdote. It's well known by Lubavitchers. I experienced it on my own life experience, that the Rebbe knew and could, that these extra measures of protection need to be done during times of war or right before times of war, and the Rebbe would know had an insight into when this was about to happen. Okay, so this is a sicha from a regular time that the Rebbe would speak to the kids, Sukkos of 1991, which was Tafshin and Bais. So after they said the 12 psukim, which they would do at every kids rally, then the Rebbe said like this: You just now said the pasuk Torah was commanded to Moshe. It's an inheritance of Morasha to the congregation of Yaakov. Which means, the Rebbe said, welcome Chava, that Hashem gave, and welcome Karen, that Hashem gave the entire Torah as an inheritance, right, to each and every Jew. That's what this pasuk means. So when we say the pasuk every time, God willing, after we learn, it's an inheritance to the congregation of Yaakov, which means every Jew is given the Torah from Moshe. Betul Yosha nitzchit as an eternal inheritance, l'kol adot, for all generations. And Morasha means an inheritance for the congregation Yaakov. So so from this we learn. What do we learn? Bedoin is in our generation. To the Jewish people in our generation, especially to the Jewish children in the generation. They have to know that Hashem gives himself, Hashem himself, right? He gives this Torah to each and every one of them, the whole entire Torah. Okay? His whole entire Torah is given to each Jew, even the kids. From the first pasuk of Hashem created the world, like they said in the second of the 12 psukim, or not second, the 6th of the 12 psukim, until the last pasuk of Torah, which is before the eyes of all the Jewish people, which we're going to complete this week, the Torah, on Thursday. Okay, this week we're going to complete it on Friday, right? Shmini Atzeres is Wednesday night, Thursday, and Simchas Torah is Thursday night, Friday. So Friday we're going to finish the whole Torah and start it anew. All this was given through Hashem to each and every Jewish person, men, women, and children, including even tiny ones. Because when it comes to an inheritance, it doesn't affect anyone at all. What the age of the person who's inheriting, what his stance is. Even if he was just now born, he receives as an inheritance everything. מתחיל כבר לומר בכל יום בבוקר כשנאום משנתו מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחסרת בי נשמעתי בכם להרבה אמונתך. How much more so when we're talking about a child who already is grown, and he's already starts saying every morning, as immediately as when he wakes up in the morning, he says, Modani lefanecha, thank you Hashem, I thank you, grateful to you, King, alive and existent, that you have given me back my soul, with much compassion, and great is our trust and belief in you. Why? Because when we wake up, the first thing we think about in the morning, we remember Hashem. That's why we say Modani first of all. Okay? For sure, the Rebbe says he started today. By the way, did you see that there's a video? It's been posted a number of times over the years. There's a man taking the Rebbe a man taking his son to the Rebbe, in a line, passing by quickly. And the man says to the Rebbe, and you can see it, hear it, he says, my child doesn't speak, doesn't talk. And so the Rebbe looks at the child and he says to him, did you say Modeh Ani this morning? And the child looks at him stunned, he's silent. And Rabbi Groner says to the child, did you say Modeh Ani this morning? And this child looks confused and stunned, he's like just silent. And the Rebbe says to the boy, say it now, with a strong, commanding voice. Usually the Rebbe spoke softly. He was very strong in his sound, the sound of his voice, like it was a command, like he commanded him, say it now. So the boy started saying Modani. You see it on video, yeah. Okay. Wow. Yes. So yes, it's a miracle you see in front. You see the father's just like it's done. Yeah. It looks, yeah. So the Rebbe says, for sure, each one of you already said Modani today. Right? Because first thing you did when you wake up, we remember Hashem. Okay. For sure, this way also your teachers and your moras started their day today, and your parents, Asabim, Asatan, your grandparents, and all the Jewish people. And so for sure they start today, and also yesterday, and also tomorrow, and every day. For sure they'll start tomorrow with this Modani. This statement becomes the beginning, foundation of the entire day. What does it mean it's a foundation and it's a beginning? So it includes in it and it permeates everything about your day. So your whole day is permeated with the idea of Modani. Imbued. Choderet is more like imbued. But I guess permeated is also good. With this, we're live, like it enlivens, and we're live with this idea, this concept, this sense, and everything during the day. Even the highest, most sublime spiritual thing, or even the highest physical thing. So any delight in spirituality or any delight in physicality, they're all permeated with this gratitude to Hashem. Hoda'ah is the acknowledgement and gratitude. We started the day with the Modani, with this acknowledgement and gratitude. Right? And that was going to go more maybe into explaining it. We'll see. Including even drinking a simple cup of water. Okay, that even when we just drink a simple cup of water, we make the blessing and acknowledgement and gratitude to Hashem that everything was created with Hashem's word. That's the blessing on the water. With this, we're grateful and with Hashem, and we bless Hashem. Not just for the water that we're drinking. Because since we're sensing and we're feeling that we need to drink the water, we need to thank Hashem that Hashem is giving us everything that we need. But we're not just thanking Hashem for the water that we got, but for creating the entire world. And everything that we have in our life. So when we're making a bracha shehakol, We're not just thanking Hashem for this cup of water. We're thanking Hashem that Hashem created the entire world and gave us everything that we need. And the Rebbe is talking about and everything that exists in the life of this child. Shehakol, everything. Sukkos and everything was created with Hashem's word. With the 10 utterances, the 10 statements with which Hashem created the world. And that's from Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers, beginning of chapter 5. It talks about that the world was created with the 10 statements. That's the Mishnah, Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers. Including all the creations in the world. When it comes to drinking a simple cup of water, Hashem is involved in this very specifically. Hashem ensures and makes sure that this will be in the world in general. Especially this child, this Jewish boy, should have this water. Should cause he should have the water he needs. So they should be healthy. He should be able to go up and be successful in a continuous elevation, physically and spiritually. So that's what I was saying. There's a lot for us to think about that, basically, and that's my little addendum. Hashem is giving us a lot of to be grateful for with just that one cup of water. And that's the Rebbe saying we should think about that when we have the cup of water. It's not just about the cup of water. We're acknowledging Hashem for everything that He's given us. He's taking care of our needs, all our needs, physically and spiritually. And Hashem gives us this water so that we could be successful in everything. We should be healthy and we should be able to continuously go up and with more and more increasing physically and spiritually, have all our needs taken care of. Together with growing and the body being successful and healthy and growing, through Hashem giving us our lively, our mizonos, our physical food as much as we need. And also He gives us clothing in our house. Also, we get the success of and growth of our soul. Because Jew gives the body what it needs, so then the soul, a Jew also gives his soul all its mizanot, its nourishment. What's the nourishment for the soul? It's Torah and mitzvahs. Okay, so we give physical, Hashem takes care of our physical needs, and we take care of our spiritual needs. Our physical needs is from Hashem, and we acknowledge that. And then our spiritual nourishment, we keep Torah and mitzvahs, and that makes our soul grow and be successful and nourished. And L'dugma, for instance, through saying the word moderni, the verse statement moderni, through saying the blessing that everything was created in Hashem's word, we're doing a mitzvah when we do that. Similar to keeping the mitzvah of sitting in a sukkah. The mitzvah is holding the 4 species. That for sure the Rebbe says you have kept until now. You will continue to keep those mitzvahs in the final days that are left in the days of Sukkos of this year, especially on the 7th day, Hoshana. It's a very auspicious day, Hoshana, which this year is going to be on Wednesday. And now, especially afterwards, the rest of the year, through keeping all the mitzvahs, because the mitzvahs are the food for the soul. Therefore, through every mitzvah that we do, this neshama, it goes higher and higher, and it's more and more successful. Okay, now he's connecting it to Mashiach and Geulah. Okay, this prepares you, each one of you, each one of us, and all the Jewish people, on the whole world, To what? That very, very soon, much sooner than what we estimate, the true and complete redemption should come. Through a righteous Mashiach. Which is the eternal redemption for each and every Jew. All the Jews. So starting with the smallest of the Jews, the youngest, the pitzalachidishe, the tiny little children, the kalebis kanim shurisa, and fully manifesting, ending with the elders of the Jewish people, together with the grandparents, grandpas and grandmas, and the teachers, the rabbis and the morals. We should have the sukkos, the merit, to very quickly, to sit, and to enjoy the sukkah of the Livyasam. It says, in the Medrash, it says there'll be a sukkah made from the skin of the Livyasam. It's already ready to be revealed. In that sukkah, we're all in it in a very good health. Proper health. With great joy. You'll tell even more than the joy of the Simchas Bais Chana, which is when we were dancing on Sukkos nights. Greater than the joy of the time of our rejoicing, which is Sukkos. Because we're all in a state that we're all worthy of sitting in one sukkah together. We're sitting together with Hashem in a revealed way. We all see, be able to experience Hashem. Hashem is revealed. Because right, the times of Mashiach, Hashem is our God. Hashem is one. We're able to see that it's all Hashem. Nothing's a covering up of Hashem. And how's it Elokeinu, our Hashem? The kol echad v'kam of each and every one of you and of us. All the years and all the days totally. Meaning we see Hashem every year, every day, all together, elders, youngers, that He's our Hashem. Especially when it's a day of Yom Tov. Holiday, where we don't do anything that's mundane. Not even the things that we need to do. We have to prepare them before Yom Tov. And therefore we have time, we have more time, free time, panui, set aside, to think about Hashem, how He is Elokeinu, He is our Hashem, which is what we do when we're in shul for hours and hours over the holidays. And what are we doing? We're thinking about how Hashem is our Hashem. Hashem is, right, our shkachapatis in our lives, Hashem, what we're grateful for in the world, and what we're Hashem, our relationship with Hashem is what we're thinking about when we're davening. How He's Elokeinu, our Hashem. And now this also applies to the days of Cholamor, the days between the first days of Yom Tov, last days of Yom Tov, Sukkos. Even though we're allowed to do a certain amount of work, the very essential, harsh, like hard work, or very ikar, like main work, we don't do on Cholamor. It's like the Sofer is not allowed to write and Cholamor. Ella lifnei Yom Tov. We have to do it before Yom Tov. So that the whole Yom Tov should be calm and happy, like we're supposed to. Therefore, we have time. That's panui. It's panui is like it's not exactly free time. It's like set aside. It's open and available. To think and to meditate, and every Yom Tov, things that have to do with the holiday, instead of thinking of business or thinking of hard work, and we can think more about things that have to do with the holiday. When it comes to the Yom Tov Sukkos, what are we supposed to think about and remember and know in Sukkos? That the sitting in the Sukkah is in order to know, in the Rebbe quotes here, that your generation should know that I have sat you in Sukkos when I took you out of Mitzrayim. That's from Parshas Emor in Chumash. And the Alter Rebbe brings it in his Shulchan Aruch. Okay, this I said. Okay, בנוגע, כמו כן, מתכונן כל אחד ואחד מאיתנו, אחד מהילדים הקטנים שבקטנים ועד ליהודים המבוגרים והזקנים ביותר לקיום הייעוד, כי מצאתך מארץ מצרים הריני נפלאות. So too, we're preparing, each and every one of us, starting from the little children, the smallest of the smallest children, until the elders, and the older people and elders, oldest of them, for the prophecy that we're taught, that Hashem will show us wonders like the days we came out of Mitzrayim, in the true and complete redemption. Just like when we came out of Mitzrayim, Hashem took everybody out, and the Jews weren't left in exile. Hashem will do it also in this Geulah, take it from Mamash immediately. Hashem takes each and every one of us, including all Am Yisrael from exile, both in Nisiv and Niflan, a way of miracles and wonders. And then we'll also be able to see, and it will be apparent how Hashem is doing wonders in everything. Like Hashem, like we say in the blessing after the grace after meals, we say in everything, in three types of everything. Bakol, mikol, kol. They all mean everything. There are little different nuances to each one. And it says that it includes all our specific things, patim, and all the details of everything. Everything is included in these wonders that Hashem is revealing. Including what it says, we're taught in Yeshaya, it says, Hashem will gather each and every one of us, of the Jewish people. Hashem gathers each and every one of the Jewish people individually. In with all their little things that he has, all the things that are connected to us. Hashem takes us out of exile wholly, fully, completely. With joy, in greatest happiness, fully happy. With the clouds of heaven, immediately mamash. Faster than going in an airplane. So the Rebbe knew we'd have either the Rebbe knew we'd have faster flights than just airplanes, jets, and maybe even more like those supersonic spacecraft that they're testing out and trying. Anyway, he says faster than a flight on an airplane. Hashem takes us, all the Jewish people, from the smallest to the oldest, to the Holy Land, to the Holy City, and from there to the Holy Temple that Hashem has established. Then he's talking about the Simchas Bais Rebbe, the joy of the Simchas Bais Rebbe, how they wouldn't sleep. And then he's connecting the joy of Sukkos to Simchas Torah. So that we really need to learn this week, that one for sure. And what's next? This little Asim V'Kam, and that's the end. They sing some Nigunim and give tzedakah. Okay, I'm just going to drink some water, and we shall continue. Second, welcome, Leah. Yay, Leah joined us. Wonderful, welcome. I'm just going to get some water. Hey, no, I love Shahakam, yeah, brother. Wow, what a nice group. Okay. Okay, so the lesson of what it says that in times of the Bais Hamikdash, they didn't sleep all night, they were rejoicing. What's the instruction for us? הנה, שם בעזרה שבבית המקדש חגגו את שמחת בית השובע כמספר בתורה באופן שאף שהתחלת השמחה הייתה בתחילת המעת לעת, היא נמשכה אחר כך על כל היום כולו. It says that in the Bais Hamikdash they would celebrate Simchas Bais Chana and Sukkos, like it's told to us in Torah, in a way that the beginning of the joy was at Chilas HaMeisleis, I guess, came night, but it was drawn afterwards, al kol hayom kulo, to the entire day. So it wasn't like, so even I guess when they stopped dancing, this joy was affecting the whole day. It's like it says they didn't taste the taste of sleep. That's from the Gemara Sukkah. Everybody was so happy and so tfusim, is like they're so caught up. Chadulim, imbued or permeated with legame, completely with the joy of Yom Tov. You feel this a little bit in Crown Heights when you go for it. I've been there a number of times. The energy is very electrifying, and you feel a lot of this electric joy permeating the whole time. The whole Yom Tov is like very high energy, charged, very charged. And there puts in parentheses also with the joy of the Geula, until they didn't have a chance to sleep. So they were permeated with the joy of Yom Tov. They didn't have a moment to sleep. They didn't even think of sleeping, okay? Because they were so permeated with this joy. Okay, they were so excited. Like you see the Rebbe says to these kids, you see in actuality, when something happy happens in your life, you're not going to fall asleep right then. Because you're permeated completely, fully, from this happy thing that's going on. Right? They're not, the kids, there's a wedding or something, right? A birthday party, they're not going to fall asleep. So too, there was this joy that we're talking about to all the Jewish people in the Holy Temple in the past. But yes, so too will be very soon, because mamash, the true and complete redemption, in the building of the third Bais Hamikdash. In it, I included all the Jewish people, including the Jews that were in the first temple, Bais Chana in the time of the second temple, including also the Jews that lived before the building of the Bais Hamikdash in general, and the Jews that lived during Galus, that were between the two temples, in the Galus, that's afterwards, that's the third temple, which includes all of them. It brings them all together, establishes them all together, united, at one time, in one moment. It's very, very soon. Take it from Yom. In a state of really, really the highest, biggest joy and happiness. More than the Simchas Bais Chana that we had in the past. More than the general joy of the holiday of Sukkos. Even more than the happiness of the Jewish children coming together to come together to celebrate the joy of Yom Tov. So then, okay, there's a little bit more to it, but I just wanted to mention something. Something came to my mind. Okay, we'll finish. Let's finish. Let's not interrupt. So this knowledge, adds more, increases more in our joy that we need. not just to be in a regular yontif, but to be in the third yontif, which is the final holiday of the 3 holidays, starting from Pesach. You count Pesach as the first yontif. You start the year from Nisan. Then Sukkos is the third holiday, third yontif. What's also special about Sukkos is that it says to rejoice in Sukkos 3 times in the Torah. Now, we understand, it's understood, like you see in your own life. If something happy happens, you don't have to be encouraged to be happy. Now, people don't have to keep you up and make sure you stay awake. Because it's understood you can't fall asleep when you're excited, right? When you're happy. You're part of the joy. So to this joy, this simcha, which is aside from it being a regular yontif, is the third yontif, and also it's mentioned in it 3 times that we have to be happy. There's no need to encourage you to be happy there. Even more than that, you show an example, a living example to your friends, and the girls to their friends. And more than that, you show an example to your parents. And you ask your parents to be more happy, to increase in happiness. Even more than the happiness that they had in Yantiv and the Simchas Bais Chana until now, meaning the kids need to demand whatever the happiness they had till now, not enough, their parents need to have more. Even though we're already in the 4th day of Sukkot. Especially when there's many Jews together. Because we add in joy when we love our fellow Jews and we're a lot together, then that increases our joy because we love each other. Because when we see other people happy, it makes us happy. So therefore, when we see a lot of people happy, we get even happier, right? All these joys get gathered together. This increases in the joy of all the Jewish people. It's interesting. I post on my status on WhatsApp. I posted the Simchas Bais Chana, some videos of people dancing in the streets in LA. It's very nice to see that in LA. They close the streets and they have a band and there's dancing. It's not so common in LA. So when I put that up, lots of people, more than the usual. You could see how many people viewed it. So there were like 50 people or more. It was at least 50 when the last I looked at it had viewed that thing, and it's only up for 24 hours. It doesn't stay. So I was showing it to my husband. Wow, I got so many views on for this video of people dancing. And it seems like everybody wants to see everybody else happy, right? So everybody's looking around what's going on around the world. The Simchas Bais Chana, the Jews dancing all around the world. So the more we see other people happy, makes us happy. That's what the Rebbe says. So that strengthens the joy of all the Jewish people in general. The klalut, the mechazeket hasimcha, strengthens the joy haklalit, the general joy of kol Am Yisrael, of all the Jewish people. This becomes the preparation. The true preparation for the simcha chigdola, for the biggest joy, shetiyah b'kol mamash, will be very, very soon. B'kol Am Yisrael, to all the Jewish people. Kol echad mehem, each one of them, starting from the kids, ad yadam gam loyam, through them, right? The Rebbe says through the children, to their parents, to their teachers, to their grandparents, simcha olamit, a general, worldwide joy, simcha nitzchit, an eternal joy. We should be zochet very, very soon because mamish, through the true and complete, with the true and complete redemption through Mashiach Tzidkenu, our righteous Mashiach. Okay, so that's the Sikha Aleph. We finished the first Sikha. Then they would sing a little bit, and then I think, yeah, and then the Rebbe would continue.
What is it called? Simchas Torah? Is it called Sukkos? I can't hear you. What is it called? I didn't hear your words. I saw
Tzivos
you.
Hashem rally. Tzivos means the army of Hashem.
Oh, Sivas Hashem. Okay.
Yeah, it's a title given by the Rebbe to the organization Tzivos Hashem, because they're also, it's called in there's a source for it in Torah. They're called the Tzivos Hashem, the army of Hashem. So the Rebbe took that expression from Torah and applied it and made a whole organization that he founded for the children up till Bar and Bas Mitzvah. From the moment they're born until Bar Bas Mitzvah, they're called the army of Hashem. And
we also have the Hashem Tzevaot, also the stars and the constellations of the army of Hashem too.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There's Rabbi Ginsburg, by the way, speaking today in Hebrew, though, live at 10:30 our time, coming up soon.
Oh, he must be well.
In 2 hours. Yeah. He had a kidney transplant. Yeah. So,
Can
yeah.
you post it? Can you post it?
It's going to be live.
No, but we have to get on the Zoom.
It's not a Zoom. It's
What?
It's in person.
It's a Shidur Chai. There's a link. I posted it on the Nourishment chat.
Okay. Oh, great. So it's in 2 hours.
But it's in Hebrew. Yeah, it's
Okay.
scheduled for 2 hours. I can't guarantee it's starting on time. Okay.
Wait. So what time? So it's 10:30. So it's 12:30 our time, right?
Yeah, I no, it would be.
Oh, 3 hours. Wait,
Yeah. Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. 2:30. No.
But like they usually start with a lot of music and singing and dancing. He doesn't start speaking right away usually. Okay. It could be like even half an hour, 45 minutes of dancing and singing. Anyway, it's nice to see it too. Okay, Sicha based. So the next one. Okay, Sukkos has 7 days. So how many days have we had of Sukkos already? We had the first 2 days, Yom Tov, Shabbos, and then we had Sunday. And today for us, it's already the 5th day. But here in this Sicha, it's the 4th day. And he said, Sukkos has 7 days. And it has, because Shmini Atzeres is an additional day to Sukkos. It's not part of Sukkos. It's an added day. So it's like after the 7 days of the Sukkos. It's like its own Yom Tov on its own. It has a new Shechianu blessing for Shmini Atzeres. It's connected to the days of Sukkos. It increases the joy of the days before it. So Shmini Atzeres is supposed to increase. It's like build on the joy of the days before. Since we're in the 4th day of Sukkot, this is from that year. We're in already most of the day in the afternoon. After the mincha prayer, we have most of the days of Sukkot already behind, right? Already included, and we've already experienced most of the days of Sukkot. For sure, the Rebbe says each and every of you has like taken action within yourself, right? Affected yourself, made it sure that you're keeping the mitzvah of the samachta b'chagecha, of be happy, rejoice in your holiday. And aside from this, you influenced also your friends. And girls, their friends, and also on your parents. That everybody should be keeping the mitzvah, be rejoicing in the holidays like necessary. Since most of the days of Sukkot have already passed, that you've done everything you could to keep the mitzvah of rejoicing in your holiday. For sure you'll continue in the final days that are left. Not just a continuation in the same botof, in the same way, but to increase in it much more. More and more. especially since tomorrow night. Yom HaShabbat should be Mei HaSukkos, it's Shabbos. Shal Kol Shabbat Nemar, about Shabbos it says, B'yom Simchatchem Alei Shabbatot, and all your days of rejoicing, those are the Shabboses. Meila Mukan Shetzich Losif Simcha, for sure we have to add enjoy on Shabbos. Miyad Lachar M'Gia Yom Mikra Shana, right after that comes the day of Shana Rabba. Rabba means a lot. Shabbat Tzricha Simcha Liot Bofen Darabah, so the Simcha has to be great, grand, Rabba, much, grand. Gam B'yachas Le'yom Simchatchem Alei Shabbatot, even more than the Shabbos that was before it. And then to increase more in Shmini Atzeres, joy of Shmini Atzeres, so we thought the Simchat Torah Shalach, especially Simchat Torah afterwards. By the way, I saw a little clip from Y.Y. Jacobson, which he said that, some people ask, how can we be happy in Simchat Torah this year, when it's like the yard site, right, of many Jews? So he said, what did they try to do? The non-Jews tried to take away our joy on Simchas Torah. They tried to crush us. They tried to take away our celebration. And if we, God forbid, are sad and mourning, God forbid, on Simchas Torah this year, we're giving in to their goal. And that's why we need to defy that and overcome that urge to be sad. I'm saying it in my words. And increase and dance like never before and win and not give in to their objectives. And celebrate with the souls of all these people, the souls of all the martyrs from all the generations and all our forefathers from before, and celebrate all together, all Am Yisrael united. There's much to rejoice with and build on that. Basically, it's what he was saying. I'm saying it in my own words, but he said it in a very nice way. Of course, like why I always said. It's a very auspicious time to celebrate with all the neshamas of all the tzaddikim and all the holy martyrs and all those who've given up their lives for all the generations and all the tzaddikim of all the generations. It's like it's beyond time, beyond. Okay, above time and space, we can go up to a very high level of joy, which we're not limited to what was right here in front of us right now in this space. We can rejoice and join in with lots of souls. I think that was his message, basically. Okay, so what's the connection between the days of Sukkos and Simchas Torah? So this is a new paragraph. When we mention Simchas Torah, we have to mention. There's a special connection actually between Simchas Torah and the fourth day of Sukkos, he said, from the aspect of the Ushpizin, which are the guests. I met on the first night of Yantiv, a woman was sitting next to me in my friend's sukkah, and she was a guest. She was from a place that's near Iran. It's not Iran itself. Abishar maybe or something like that. One of these far off places that you never really hear of. Can't even pronounce the names. And she grew up with the language of Aramaic. Okay. So I just thought of her because Ushpizin is an Aramaic word, and I asked her if she knows what Ushpizin means. She didn't know what Ushpizin means, but she said she knew. She grew up with Aramaic. Okay, so they spoke the language spoken there is Aramaic. Interesting, huh? Okay, yeah.
I didn't know anybody spoke it.
My grandpa.
People know it, but not speak it.
Some far place out there.
Can you read Aramaic, Yehudit?
Yeah, you could read it, but I don't understand it.
Oh, you don't understand it?
Letters, yeah.
Mm-hmm. My grandpa used to be able to read it.
Yes, yeah. And the yeshivas.
I don't know why. He was from
because
Poland.
Gemara is in Aramaic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mayor High reads it and understands it.
Most men. And Targum Onkelos in Aramaic. There's a lot in Aramaic. The Zohar is in Aramaic. Okay. So the boys are taught it. Girls aren't taught it for some reason. In the days of Sukkot, there's 7 ushpizim, 7 guests. That come to be Yes, in the sukkah of every Jew. Oh, this was the other thing I wanted to, before I forget. Yesterday, I posted this also on my status. You could take a look. There's a picture of a Megillah. It's the WhatsApp status. If you go onto my icon, you click on it, you can see a picture of a Megillah that we saw yesterday. Somebody showed us a Megillah that he bought from a woman who says it's from her grandparents, and she's from Italy. So it's an Italian Megillah that they estimate, she said, is about 150 years old, and it was in a very antique, unusual looking, old looking metal case, and it was small, and it was written beautifully. The letters were perfect. They were gorgeous and very clear letters, and you could see it's parchment, with the lines. The parchment have lines on them before the Sofer writes. He's supposed to make lines in grain, and so you could see it was real. And my husband looked at the ksav, and he said it's an unusual, a little bit usual. It's a blend. It's a mix of two types of ksav. One is Bais Yosef and one is Sephardi. So like there's some letter was like a Sephardi ksav, and another letter was like the Bais Yosef ksav, which is very interesting because Italy, right? Many Jews were in Italy from the time of the destruction of the temple. Like they didn't go anywhere. They didn't go to Persia, and they didn't go to Europe, to Eastern Europe. They were just in Italy since the destruction of the temple. They went to Rome and they stayed there. So they're not Italian Jews. They say they're not Ashkenazi or Sephardi. They don't have the customs of Ashkenaz or Sephardi. And in this written Megillah, my husband saw some letters that are used in Sephardi and some that are used in the Ashkenazi. So, which means neither one is. It's interesting. I don't know what it means. I'm not going to interpret it. Yeah, the different versions. Maybe neither one is 100%. You know what I'm saying? The original might be more like that one that we saw in that Megillah. Possibly, we don't know.
It's somebody who had had been brought up, with people from both, and so that's what they knew, maybe.
No. It's not that they knew both. What I'm saying is that they were exiled from the destruction of temples to Italy, and they were there. That's what they got.
Oh, I see.
It was, they didn't, yeah. Now, some of it was you can see it in the Sephardi mezuzahs and Megillas and Sefer Torahs and everything, and some of it, it's very slight nuances, and that becomes Sephardi handwritten ksav, and some are in Bais Yosef ksav, which is Ashkenazi. So, like, it's interesting. The reason it's interesting to me is because there's every ksav is considered, whether it's Sephardi or Ashkenazi, it's considered kosher. You're allowed to put a Sephardi mezuzah in an Ashkenazi person's house. It's not like you can't do that. At least, yeah, most poskim hold that. There was one person who wrote a book. He said, "Don't follow it," and he wrote, everybody holds Bais Yosef. He's Ashkenazi. Everybody holds Ashkenazi. The Ashkenazi one is the best. And I was like, I asked my husband about it. It doesn't mean that's, in his mind, in his eyes, the Ashkenazi is the best. And anyway, in this ksav, this handwriting had had both. Some letters.
Well, was it because that broke off? broke off there?
Right. So Bais Yosef has some has kept some of it, possibly, and this is a theory. Some of the letters they go according to the authentic, and the Sephardi, some of them according to the authentic. They're both kosher because the tradition is a tradition as they got it, but there's slight nuances. It's very subtle. Only like a sofer who studied it can really actually notice these differences. It's like if you give it to a child to read, you'll see it's a base is a base. Shin is a shin, a lamed is a lamed. But when a sofer sees it, you could see it more. You can notice it better. He can notice it better.
In the days of the temple, there probably weren't Sephardim and Ashkenazim.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Right.
know, that's what you're
Probably
saying.
probably, who knows? It's probably
Probably.
like the original. And from it was, few little variations came on either side. Not necessarily that one is better than the other. It was just proof to me, because we were just reading it, and I got a little upset when I read in this book. I gave it to Rabbi Zirkin to read it. And I turned I folded that page and I asked him if he would give me his opinion on that, because I didn't like that this rabbi wrote, that the Bais Yosef is everybody accepts it. This is the, the best. He didn't even say the best. He said kosher. So that bothered me. So I gave it to Rabbi Zirkin to review it and to give me his opinion, So we saw another sofer last night. As Chabad sofer, and I asked him about it also. And he said, "Listen, he kind of poo-pooed it. That's like, he said actually there wasn't time that he spoke at some place YU or something, and he made a statement also about the different writings and different versions, and he kind of poo-pooed other versions, and a couple of Chabad Soifrim wrote to him, like this is, they held him accountable, and he backtracked. He agreed, that he went he was a little bit too dismissive of other, other versions. Anyway, so that's the behind the scenes part, it's all kosher. It's God willing, the most meduyak though, this is for I'm a little bit of an investigator. Last year at this time actually, was I think this day, Chol 5th day of Sukkos, we went to visit a big Rav in Yerushalayim, who was Moshe Reiner. He wrote the book on 7 mitzvahs of the non-Jews, and he wrote a book on the writing of the Alter Rebbe. And he said the Alter Rebbe did bring the most exact ksav. That's what the Maggid message wanted the Alter Rebbe to clarify. What is the most meduyak, the most exact handwritten? And that's the ksav of the Alter Rebbe, which Karen, thank God, bought one of his mezuzahs from us. Written ksav Alter Rebbe. The Chabad minhag is, according to the Chabad, the Shulchan Aruch, the Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe, he has a few variants of letters that he basically, this Rav said is the most mediyak, the most exact. And it's the final version. It's after the Sfardim had their version and Ashkenazim had their Bais Yosef. Then the Alter Rebbe came and merged and created, it's only about 6 letters that are a little bit different. And there's the Alter Rebbe's version. Okay, so now that all was aroused when we saw this Italy, this Megillah from Italy that was beautifully written, and the letters were a combination of the Sephardi and the Ashkenazi versions that we have today. Okay, so here we go.
You saw that.
Yeah, it's posted on my status. Okay, so the Ushpiz. Okay, the Ushpiz is Moshe Rabbeinu. Of the 4th day is Ushpiz, is the main Ushpiz, is the main guest. All the guests are there every day. The main Ushpiz, the leader of the tribe, is Moshe Rabbeinu on the 4th day. He received, one second. First he said, I don't want to skip. So he says, okay, so the Ushpiz of the day is Moshe Rabbeinu. So that's very much connected to Simchas Torah, because Torah was given by Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, like we said, Torah Tzivah Moshe, Moshe Kilas Yaakov, that Moshe received the Torah on Mount Sinai. He gave it to each and every Jew, and we learn, like he says, we learn the Torah of Moshe. That there says each one of you, even the girls, especially the older girls, and especially and for sure included is the children, they learn the Torah of Moshe. And we start when you're able to understand something. And then they're taught this verse. So that's the connection to the day, the 4th day, with Simchas Torah. So the Rebbe is like connecting the days of Sukkos to Simchas Torah. Like Simchas Torah is the heightened joy, increased joy of the days of Sukkos, but they're connected. It's a separate Yontif, the Rebbe says, but it's connected. So we see Simchas Torah is connected to Moshe Rabbeinu, and it's connected to the Moshe Rabbeinu as one of the guests that comes on Sukkos. Okay. And Asaf was aside from this, Moshe Rabbeinu brings with him et kosher of Chinuch Hashem, all the other guests on the day of the fourth day of Sukkos. And he brings the Ushpis in all the days of Sukkos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Moshe and Aaron, Yosef, and David. All 7 guests are in the sukkah of each and every Jew. What do the guests do when they see, these holy guests see that in the sukkah there's Jewish children also? As I smechin kol hashpizim, and the shpizim become happy when they see the children. Especially Moshe Rabbeinu gets happy. He's the main shpiz of the day. He was the one who received the Torah on Mount Sinai, and he gave it through to Messiah Gemara, means fully gave it over to each and every Jewish person. He's happy when he sees in the sukkah. The child is rejoicing with this Torah that he gave, right? And he's learning Torah. He's making sure that his friends also will learn Torah. And the girls make sure that their friends learn Torah. So Moshe Rabbeinu is especially happy, that it says, when he sees children learning Torah and making sure their friends learn Torah. I guess, the Rebbe didn't want the kids to distract each other when he was speaking. Not aside from that, teaching later on, I think he wanted them to each encourage each other to listen. It was a long sikha. These kids would sit for a very long time and listen to the Rebbe. Not all of them knew Yiddish, so they'd have to sit there and wait till it was translated. Learning of Torah specifically in a way that it's clear and apparent that the learning is mitchadesh, is renewing in it this whole aspect of inheritance of Yaakov. What does it mean? It's an inheritance. Since the Torah is an acquisition, it's our inheritance. It belongs to each and every Jew. The Sukkos of all the Jews, but Kol Olam, the whole world. Even before we learn, so learning it, this acquisition becomes renewed in a new way through learning it. Meaning it's ours and it's connected to us and to all the Jews. But so even before we're connected, but even there's a new thing enacted, mechadash, renewed when we learn it. Especially when you increase in your learning, when you start learning, you learn and you add, you increase in concentration and focus and dedication. Adding and like invigorated with the joy of learning Torah, of limud Torah. Still you're not satisfied with this short moment that you yourself are learning. You tell your friends and your parents, to the grandpas and the grandmas, that you just learned now another pasuk and another mamar chazar, another verse from the rabbis. So the Rebbe says, go, basically be so happy that you tell everybody you learned another pasuk. Like this 12 psukim they said before, from Torah shebichtav and Torah sheba'al peh, from the written Torah and the oral Torah, the 12 psukim has from both. Through this, you show them a living example. You're strengthening this idea of Morashak Hilas Yaakov. It's an inheritance for the congregation of Yaakov. The Torah is the inheritance of your whole entire family, and of all the Jewish families that are living in your area. It's also an inheritance for all the Jewish families in the whole world. They're all called the congregation of Yaakov. This becomes very precious to you, like something that you receive in an inheritance. It's very precious. The main thing. This becomes a preparation. it becomes in a way that we become a congregation of the Jewish people, Kilas Yaakov, that we all become, all the Jews together are gathering together with Hashem. With us also exists Moshe Rabbeinu. He's the first Redeemer, he's the last Redeemer. Since he was the Redeemer of all the Jewish people, when the Jews came out of Mitzrayim, so too he is now. The final Redeemer. Together with Mashiach, a righteous Mashiach. Meaning Moshe Rabbeinu will also be part of the Geula, the redemption, of all the Jewish people, from the entire world. Then we'll have the congregation of Yaakov, Lashon Yachid, will be one congregation, not many congregations. Shekol HaMishtaychim LaYaakov, all those who are connected to Yaakov, Shemotzam Hu Me'echad HaShvatim, who come, our source is from one of the tribes. Bnei Yaakov from the children of Yaakov and from the children of their children. And this are included all Am Yisrael. We stand in a situation, a stance of the congregation of Yaakov. One congregation. Not like it is in the exile. There's many congregations. During exile, there's many countries with many congregations, whereas at the times of Gula, it's one congregation, one single congregation. This should be our hope, that each one of you and from us should take you to immediately in time. Immediately we should all be one. Will come the time that will be one congregation, one singular congregation, achat v'yichida. Be'eretz achat v'yichida, in one singular country, Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. But before we may Sukkot, especially in the time of Sukkos, as well, I went over. Allah kol yadi be'eretz Yisrael lebeis hamikdash. Every Jew goes to the holy temple, mabih l'sham korbanos, and bring the sacrifice of kolam korbanot simcha. The happy sacrifices, shlamai simcha va'acha simcha choderet b'legam, until the joy permeates us completely. In every family, your brothers and sisters, parents and grandparents, until it permeates all the Jewish people. What happens when you dance together? Becomes one dance of all the Jewish people together. It's connected to the dance that Hashem says that Hashem is going to make a dance for the tzaddikim, for the righteous in the future. And the Rebbe says, who's the tzaddikim? Amich kulam tzaddikim. He brings another verse that says, we're all tzaddikim. See the Gemara, Sanhedrin. We'll have one big dance. We'll all be dancing around Hashem. And it's like Hashem is dancing together with us. It's like Hashem is in the center, and we're all focused, we're all surrounding Hashem and dancing together. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop here because it's late and we can continue. It's very almost finished anyway, but we can finish it tomorrow. He's talking about Simchas Torah a little bit more tomorrow. It's Hashem.
And we're going to have one single source of information.
One single source.
Yeah. All the other sources of information are not going to exist and going to be completely debunked, not trusted, not existing, non-existent.
Yeah.
Only one truth and one single source of information.
Yes.
Except for what we learn about the natural world. So all like culture and everything, his supposed history and supposed any kind of other types of quote unquote information are just, they're going to be like debunked.
Mm-hmm. Amen. That's true. You know, it's very interesting. This is interesting. I'm going to turn off the recording, okay? Then we'll do our psukim. An interesting thing that I just got in the mail.